Hello, welcome back. You might have remembered this video last year where Nathan and I compared bikes. This is my Specialized Diverge Expert. This is a gravel bike made for gravel and graveling.
Well, this is my bike. It's beautiful, maybe my favorite bike I've ever had. It's the Colnago G3X in Purple Rain. Pretty remarkable set of colors to be on a bike, but most of all, it's very fast.
Well, it is exactly a year later, and we are going to do exactly the same thing, but with some fairly significant bike changes. Nathan, are you ready?
When your camera's on me, yes, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. Here they are. Main differences, yellow.
Peppermint. It almost looks like mint chalk if you were to be a gelato aficionado.
Ah, that's good, yeah. And yours is the, yeah.
It's like banana gelato.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's, I'm going to press stop and we're going to start. Oh. Right on time, Nathan. It's like the BBC World Service or something.
And welcome to the news. I am Walter Cronkite.
This is your banana.
Huge change this year. We've got a brand new frame which we've been waiting for launch. We launched 2 weeks ago at the Tracker. Super exciting. This is the Colnago G4X, which is the big brother of last year's 3X. A lot of big changes. First thing, most notably, is that this is now a fully integrated cockpit. There's no cables, much more aero, much cleaner. We have an oversized bearing sitting down here to hold that fork in place, and the steering change has been absolutely phenomenal.
You can feel the difference.
Oh, absolutely. It's just like when I'm actually sideways and I'm going through ruts, the bike just absolutely drives through it. It doesn't have as much flex as it used to. I've also completely changed my setup from last year where I was with Campagnolo. This time I'm with SRAM. Oh, hello.
Oh, get out the shot.
Pork always wants to be on camera.
Get out the shot.
Influencers, piss off.
Go make some content.
Anyway, back to making content. I'm the focus. Why are they stealing my moment?
They were very good bike riders. Ruben, Lawrence and Puck.
Sounds like a tragically hip band.
Yeah. Death metal?
No, more like indie. You know, just like
who's
they do a lot of like acoustic, you know.
Who's playing the drums?
I think it's Pork, no? She's got that one.
Singer?
Definitely Ruben. And then Lawrence is more like bass. But I think Ruben's also sitting there like lead guitar, just doing some acoustic chords. Keeps it very simple. Fair.
Back to your bike.
Back to my bike. The fork also feels a lot stiffer than it was, which is really nice. And I'm actually riding Envy wheels this year. This is the SCS 3.4 with an internal rim width of 25, which definitely makes the tires sit bigger. Okay. You know, we'll talk about gelatos before, but imagine a small gelato cone with a tire sitting on top. Yeah. It's very tippy, where as soon as you go for a wider cone, that tire actually fits in there. So when I'm actually descending on road, I don't feel as if the tire is actually sort of like gently rolling off the rim at all.
Right.
So
if you want to get on the edge of the tire, this is better.
This is way better. I can absolutely rip harder on these wheels. I'm riding the Schwalbe G1R in 45mm. This is pretty much my standard tire for every single race. I'm in love with it. It's got perfect grip. It's very hard to get a flat tire. Not impossible. No tire's perfect, but it's puncture resistance is excellent. Yeah. I've moved over to SRAM this year.
From Campag.
Yeah.
So you've gone electronic instead of cables.
Exactly, which I love the noise, right?
Yeah. Before we head backwards on the bike, can we talk about the handlebars? Because this is a very aggressive 90 degree.
Yeah, so firstly, this is called the stem.
Okay.
So they actually don't have like a model name for it. It's just called the Envy stem in 120mm.
Envy have such a good reputation now that they don't need to have...
We just call it the stem.
I've got the Envy set up and everyone knows that you mean business.
And it's quite nice. I like how shiny it is at the front and how they've got a little matte finish here. I think that's quite a nice touch. Sort of breaks up the aesthetic somewhat. But I've gone for the AR, which is the all-road bar. Which has quite a shallow drop, which is perfect for gravel, and really nice flare on it, and it's also an ergonomic handlebar. So I feel like when I'm descending on these bars, like there's sort of nothing I can't do. Positions are always perfect.
Going to point out, quite wide.
Yeah, these are 42s, but I mean, the way I see it is I was riding some narrower bars earlier this year, and I just felt that like my shoulders don't like intonating. I actually prefer to have like a neutral spine, and for me, the wider handlebar definitely gives me more control up and downhill.
They 42 here
center
to
center, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking 40.
This is like 46, I believe, outside to outside. But it really triangulates you when you're actually descending. So I feel as if I can get a lot more weight on the outside of the bike, which when I'm descending gives me a lot more control.
Yeah. The technical bits are your real strength.
And also the thing I like the most, like I don't like to be held back when I like going fast downhill. So these bars, they're kick-ass, I love them. So I've gone for what's called the mullet setup, business up front. So I've got a 48 tooth chainring, which is actually not SRAM. This is a brand, it's called Gobaruk. And when Colnago asked me the question, would you like the CNC forged or would you like the aero? I was like, what would Alex Dowsett do? He's called me recently for some advice for his gravel setup, and I was like, I've got to return the favor here. Alex, what would I do? Spirit Animal spoke to me and it said, go for aero, and I love it. Looks like an LP.
So, quick question, SRAM, sponsored or choice?
Not sponsored, choice.
Brilliant.
It's just really nice to have a transmission that works, in all conditions, and the electric shifting is just something that, I didn't feel like was necessary. I always liked it on Ekar, having the cable. It was a lot easier to fix, but just overall, it's a little bit more of a reliable setup for me this year. Yeah, I still love Campag. I think it's a great brand and the product is super good on gravel. The brakes are exceptional. Yeah. But we just thought it was time to try SRAM, and we're giving it a go, and I really like it. So I'm actually running a mountain bike derailleur on the back. This is the SRAM Axis or AXS, I'm not sure what they call it, but I'm running a...
Not their fancy new direct mount rear.
No, I don't have access to that yet.
Okay.
Might do for Unbound, we'll see.
Yeah.
See if we need that sort of extra stiffness for the mud, but at the moment I'm finding this transition's perfect. I'm running a 52 to 10 cassette, so it's a huge range, which allows me to actually use a 48 tooth chainring, which means I still have a less than 1-to-1 ratio when I'm climbing.
Of course,
But I'm actually finding that so many times on gravel, if you're running a 1x on the front, you can be so limited by actually being able to pedal at high speed. So having the 10-48 means that I can actually have a good cadence above 60k an hour, or at least put power into the pedals, which is always a challenge. But as you can see on this wear on this gold cassette, like I spent a lot of time at the bottom of this cassette. I've actually been quite amazed at how big a gear I'm using all the time. Still in love with the Garmin power meter pedals. They're absolutely amazing. They're super reliable. I've yet to break one.
Underrated.
I don't think they're underrated. I think
every power meter I've ever used underrated.
Well, if you need to tell yourself that, that's for your own ego. But yeah, just really reliable. It's a really nice pedal. And you can swap them between bikes really easily. You don't have to own multiple power meters, so big advantage. Super reliable. Running the Garmin 1040 Solar, which means I never have to charge this thing because it's always recharging in the sun. But I go for the 1040 as opposed to the smaller model because I really like to have the biggest map as I can possible, because if I can really see where I'm going, I get lost a lot less on the race. Saddle, this is the Physique versus Evo Adaptive, which is a 3D printed saddle. So it's a little bit softer in the back here for your glute, and a little bit firmer up here for the perineum.
And quite a pointing up. So let's not beat around the bush. You're defying the norm and pointing the saddle upwards.
Yeah, I find if I run my saddle flat, I find what happens is that like inclination to slide forward on the saddle is too much. So if I have just like a gentle reminder to actually sit further back into the saddle, I can keep a lot more traction on the back wheel when I'm climbing. So for me, it's more of a proprioceptive reminder to actually sit where I'm supposed to sit on the bike and not leach forward too much. The other thing that's quite cool is Adam Blazevic, gravel racer from Australia, has just come out with a new company called Off Camber, and he has these 3D printed canister holder that fits onto almost any frame in the world. Exceptionally light. I think it's 14 grams. And it's just very, very well designed, very well built, and they're for sale, I guess.
Cool. Silka saddlebag.
Yeah, Silka saddlebag.
Race dependent, I guess.
And I use will be Silka when I change it back over. I brought the wrong one with me. But something of interest is I use the SRAM brake caliper, but I actually use the Campagnolo rotor. They're a little bit wider, which means that the hit point for the braking just comes a little bit earlier. And they're also a floating rotor, so I feel that you get a bit more modulation with these rotors.
Okay. And there we have it, folks.
The Colnago G4X. Check it out. And don't run it over.
Hello, welcome to my bike. Now, last year I was very much The bike I was using was the bike that just turned up. This year a bit more thought's gone into it. IR specialised for the crux frame set. They duly obliged. It's a 56 and I'm 182 centimetres tall. Start at the front like Nathan did. Roval Rapide handlebars. They're kind of the narrowest possible to get the 120 stem, so I think they're a 40. Using them because I pulled them off my SL8 when I put narrower bars on that. So there's not much like performance thought that's gone into it, other aside from them being quite aero. I just thought it'd be a bit of a flex. You know, I mean, they're aero and then I'm putting a GoPro here. So GoPro rise, we're running an 11 mini black on the front and a 12 with a microphone on the back to hear any chatter and have minimum wind noise.
What about farts?
Yeah, maybe, we don't know yet.
This is the fart cam.
Yeah, so if we go back to the front, these are the exact same tyres as last year. The same tyres. These are not new, the same. It's a 42mm Specialized Pathfinder. It's got Vittoria tyre liners in there and silk sealant on head Emporia's wheel set, which I love. I really like them. My other Aeroflex is my carbon rotor cover. This is attached to the thing that you do it up with in there. In terms of gains, this does close to bugger all, but I know on the start line it's going to annoy a few people. They're going to think, damn it, Alex is onto something that I'm not, and it might give me a mental edge. But in truth, there's almost no gain to be had from it. Shimano's GRX group set. Similarly to Nathan last year, mechanical, 42 chainring, 1050 cassette. So all the range I need. Honestly, I think if I could go bigger on the chainring, which I think I will, then I will. Just, there's barely any scenarios, especially on this race here where we're going to need 4250. So I think moving up to, like Nathan, 48 would be preferable. Silka bottle cages. I'm swapping between Garmin SPD pedals and Garmin SPD SL pedals depending on whether we think we'll be walking at all. Just prefer the wider platform. Even I love my speed plays, but I don't want to run speed play in the mud because once you get mud in them, that's it. You then have flat pedals. So I'm
flat paddles, I would call them.
Yes. So back onto Shimano SPD SL pedals and what else? Yeah, there's the rear mech GRX, Shimano brakes. And then I think the one that you would have seen from the video where I built this is this guy, the dropper post. I called Nathan mid-bike build to go, do I take the 250 gram weight penalty for the dropper post? To which Nathan said, yes, it's not just for technical, it's for aero as well. So, and since using it in Sweden and here, Nathan was 100% right. But I think the coolest thing is this GRX group set is ready for a dropper post, so it's done on what would have been the front derailleur shifter. All my canisters and puncher stuff is going in pockets. I have not thought about any kind of storage solutions for that on here because I've been more focused on the cameras. And a Wove Mags saddle, which I really like it. I do really like it. I really like the Specialized saddles, and this is a very similar shape. It's got good squish. It's very light. There's a bit of play in the dropper post, but you don't notice it on the bike. Have I 170mm cranks? What crank lengths are you on?
170s.
Yeah. And there's my bike.